Greetings everyone, Tony here. I'm not an expert in reloading, but I do have some thoughts on the Lee Precision Ram Swage. The TLDR is I do like this tool, especially in comparison to the RCBS offering, and it helps remove military style crimps on brass, especially helpful when you don't have access to power at your reloading bench. Let's take a closer look. There are three major components to the Swage kit: the Swage body and the two specialty shell holders, one for a small primer and one for a large primer pocket. You also get a box for it. The box style keeps changing, as this box is just a standard Lee Precision die box. It's not special to this tool. I believe the newer ones will be using the double die box instead of the triple die box. Operation of the Ram Swage is actually really simple. You will screw in the Swage body, which is standard die size, and you would pick and install the specialty shell holder. After that, you put your brass on the shell holder and do a regular reloading stroke. The manual will have more information on how to set it up for the proper depth. It will be really beneficial if you have a primer pocket gauge. I don't have it here. Or the Lee manual would suggest to use a live primer as a gauge. I really don't like that idea. The benefit in comparison to the RCBS design is it will work great with the Lee Challenger breech lock Challenger kit. For example, here is a video reference to DIY reloading, Kyle with Ultimate Reloaders, and he would have to rig up this stand to properly use the RCBS style ejector. This system is all spring-loaded, so it will eject automatically. I also do prefer how you can just set a case on top of the shell holder. On the RCBS, it seems that you would need to hold on to the case before it's swaged. What are the drawbacks of the Lee Ram Swage kit? First, it doesn't have a great way for you to measure how deep you should swage your primer pocket. You don't want to over-swage it, as you're pushing material away from the primer pocket itself. You might lose primer pocket tension earlier than expected, reducing brass life. Depends on who you ask. Some people may prefer to cut primer pockets compared to swage primer pockets. After I've done all my readings and my personal experience, I don't really have a huge preference either way. However, I do prefer to have them uniformed after swaging, as swaging is pushing the material away, but you're not fusing the brass back into the brass body, so it's kind of just hanging out there. So usually I do my swage in one batch, and after they're all swaged, I use the Lyman Case Multi-Prep tool with the primer pocket cutter head to remove the material pushed away. People may ask, aren't you doing double the work? Is that really necessary? After you swaged it, the cutting force on your fingers is greatly reduced. So is it going to take longer? Yes. Is it more uniform? In my opinion, yes. But that's up to the reload. For example, I do not have a powered case prep center. For example, the Lyman, the Frankfurt Arsenal, I believe Hornady might have one too. I don't think Lee has one. If you have that, maybe I would just skip the swage step. The upgrade to the Lee Ram Swage is really the Lee Swage kit on the APP. And then you will have an automatic feed and eject system, so you're basically not handling the brass after you've loaded it into the tube. And oddly, the Lee Ram Swage is actually hard to find in Canada. I can't really explain why, but the market is really taken up by mostly the RCBS Swage kit, which again, because I'm using a breech lock Challenger, it's not really working as it's intended. I believe on the Challenger 3, it's not going to be a problem because the primer catching cup is slightly different design, more towards a traditional where it doesn't have the barriers kind of along the ram, so to speak. So all in all, do I recommend the Lee Ram Swage kit? I do. I think it works well if you don't want to introduce a power prep center to your loading setup. I don't, for example, and there's multiple ways you can do it. You can do it a quick way without having the primer pocket reuniformed, but I prefer to do it my way, as in swage it first and then just a light cutting, light chamfer, light uniform on the primer pockets. If you have any questions, do leave them down below. If not, we'll see you on the next one.